Alright guys, what you think? Pretty cool, right? Team Z stepped up and helped me out, and I'm going to help them out, and hopefully this is a partnership that lasts a long amount of time. We went over quickly what all was brought in to do videos for. And the first things I'm going to start off are going to be the easy stuff. Steering column, gas pedal, seat mounts, spindles, parachute mount, and a couple other things here or there. I don't remember 100%. But stuff like the upper and lower torque boxes and the motor plate and mid plate, that's going to be done over the winter. I'm still trying to get this car to at least drive it around the block before the snow flies. So I don't want to tear it all apart before I know, okay, it's snowing, let's get it up on stands and rip it apart. So last night I sat down and I took out a bunch of parts. I took out the steering column, I took out the gas pedal, I took out the seats, the seat mounts. We will go over the steering. Now, the one major thing about this steering is it makes it lighter. So, I don't know if you can see, but up here I have the whole Team Z steering kit, and over there I have all the factory stuff. I got a refrigerant scale. Is it down to the 10th of half an ounce of a pound? No, but it's pretty close enough to give you a view of how much weight you're saving with this and how much nicer this stuff is over your stock stuff. I didn't have a stock steering wheel. I didn't have a stock steering shaft. So a lot of that's going to play big too, because this was an airbag car. That stock steering wheel airbag was freaking heavy, and that rag joint on the steering shaft is also heavy. So we're going to take into account more with that. Of course, you got your everyday run-of-the-mill Grant steering wheel. I have a Grant quick release hub on there that bolts to the factory steering column. Steering shaft that I made. It's got Flaming River, I don't know if you can see that, Flaming River joints on here, double D shaft. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but it's heavy. This is work for anyone. I mean, it was going to work for me. Factory firewall boot, and if you have these, keep them, because apparently you can't buy these anywhere. And the factory steering column. Now this is where most of your weight savings is. This thing is it's a pretty heavy pig. There's definitely got some weight to this, with your switch on there, your ignition on there, and all that jazz. Now let's look at the Team Z. Here is the Team Z wheel. We went over this already. It only weighs 1 pound. I have the switch in here, weighs 0.2, just under 1/4 of a pound. And I think this only weighed about a half a pound. When you order the Team Z kit, you're going to get this steering wheel. Don't mind the Tim McAmis horn button in there. I had that laying around because the Grant one fills the hole, so you can't use it. So anyway, you're going to get the wheel. You're going to get the Strange SFI certed quick release. You're going to get the steering shaft, Ujoint chromoly shaft, the other joint at the end of the column, a firewall plate with a boot, and of course the steering shaft. Get the whole kit. Well, you won't get the steering wheel. I'm sorry, the steering wheel is separate. But you will get the quick release because that already comes welded on it. You can see the Strange logo, hopefully. Yeah. And it also comes with the rings that you need to stop this from moving. That's the whole kit you get from Team Z. So we're going to weigh it right now, and we're going to see how much weight you save with everything. Now, I'm not putting every single nut and bolt on here. I'm not weighing this thing down to the 1/4 of an 1/8 of a 1/16 of an ounce. This is going to put you in a general location, general idea of how much this stuff weighs. steering column, steering shaft, steering boot, steering wheel. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. 15.85 pounds. So you almost got 16 pounds there. You can see everything's on the scale. I'm not trying to fudge anything here. You know, I wouldn't lie to you guys. Team Z stuff. Steering column, on. Steering shaft. Now mind you, this is actually going to weigh a little bit more because this shaft has to be trimmed to length. Steering knuckle. Firewall plate in the bag. And I'm even putting the button on there because I had it on the other one. You see that? 8.2 pounds. Make sure I'm not sitting on the shaft. 8.2 pounds. And you can see that's everything. You know, everything's on there. I'm not putting it down on the toolbox. So you're almost half the weight of what you had in there prior. That's significant. That's a significant. I mean, a lot of people at 7-8 pounds is not going to matter to them. You know, that's in the grand scheme of things, 8 pounds is not a ton of weight, but every pound counts. I just took 8 pounds out of that. I sold my wheels. I'm buying different wheels lighter. 5 pounds out of that. I switched from stock brakes to aluminum caliper brakes, like aerospace or something. There's another 30 pounds. Same in the rear, another 20 pounds. I went from I do a full aluminum downpipe. You know, that's another 25 pounds. See how quick that adds up? Those little numbers will add up. Every pound counts. You can see the hole up in the dash or in the body here where we have to bolt this thing back in, and there's a bunch of, looks like just small screws. They're 1/4 inch, and we'll get this thing bolted in now. Okay, I'm a fool. I forgot that one hole on this thing was bigger, and I was wondering why when I was putting the seal on. That's because the fourth bolt goes through it right there. So, cover on the front. I put the screws in through the back this time. It's not as pretty, but at least if his self-tapper loosens up, it falls into the car instead of on the track, which I personally like much better, because getting a hole in your slick is not fun, considering depending on the speed it could wipe out another car. Alright, now that you got the firewall grommet in place, you got to put the shaft in, and like I showed you before, these are loose, but you can loosen these up with one Allen key and you slide it tight. You know, it gives you get a little play back and forth, front to back. Yeah, so just guide that thing on down. But you can definitely see that thing sticks out further, which I kind of like, because I'd rather sit further back in the car if I can. That thing glides so smooth that the weight of the button brings it down. I wouldn't mind dropping the whole column a 1/2 inch. We went over this before one other time. Super easy to do on this one. The only thing I would do would be remake the firewall plate I'd probably just cut it out of metal myself, cut a new one out, and drop the mount down 1/2 inch. But I gotta wait until put the seat mounts in to do that. Time. There's my steering column, and trying to get up in here. You can see the steering shaft. You can see the steering shaft right there. So this one definitely looks more pointed. I got to oh, sorry guys, pointed at the header. I don't know why that's like that, but I got to stick it in there and see how close we are with the new steering shaft. So there's play in this column. So with these lock rings, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this upper lock ring, pull the shaft into the car some, not all the way, obviously, because you still got the other lock ring on the bottom, and slide that all the way down to the column. Okay, that's none. Now there's no more play. Yeah. So this is going to be aiming right around there. About as much room as I had last time. So now you got to put the other shaft, the other knuckle on the steering shaft down there, and you got to measure again. So I'm running into clearance issues here with my header and this column. You can see it right here. I was running into a problem with the steering shaft, and not at any fault of Team Z, because I ran into the same problems with my stock one. It's my header that I picked for this car. The back runner, as you can see, comes down pretty low. Now this is not like the if it came up here a little bit more, we wouldn't be going I wouldn't be going through any of these problems right now. What I've decided to try to do is space out the column down 1/2 inch. Now I have these nice aluminum spacers that I got from McMaster Car or one of those websites, and it's literally just a 1/2 inch thick spacer, aluminum 3/8 hole or whatever it is. And right now I have it bolted in with that space down, and I think that gives me enough clearance to remake the steering rod. Now we've gone over making a steering rod before. I did in the other video. This is following the same exact concept. So I'm going to grab my tape measure. I'm going to measure from end of U-joint to end of U-joint. We can cut the tube, and we can get it in there and make sure it fits, and make sure the steering wheel spins the whole way. We got about 8.5 inches from the end of this U-joint to the end of this U-joint. Yeah, maybe just a tad under 8.5. So we gotta pull. These are nice U-joints. They're smaller. I like them. Pull that U-joint out, and what's nice is the bolt through. Got my joints, got my shaft. So, like I said, it was 8.5 inches between the two, and these things sit pretty snug. It was just a touch under 8.5, actually. Make sure you cut the hole with the solder drilled on it, so you don't have to do that twice. Air saw. When you get this, one of these things, it comes assembled on one of these joints. Mark it. So you're not sitting there doing what I did, because I have a feeling this is just drilled on a press through all of them, and that's how they do it, and it's over. Now, I mean, is it prettier than the other one? No. These joints are beautiful, you know, but look at the size difference in those joints. They are much smaller. They're much less bulkier. And they don't have, I mean, the weight, I mean, there's noticeable weight difference here, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with this solid double D shaft versus a chromoly shaft. So, there's that. Let's go put it in the car. I'm gonna loosen that and bring this down so I can push this shaft up further in. Alright, there's your steering shaft, and mine's still a touch too long. I want to shorten it a bit, probably no more than 1/8 of an inch. Alright guys, so after a couple minutes of thinking about what I want to do here, I went and clearanced my manifold. It didn't take much, wasn't much to hit on, and I literally probably have a 1/4 inch between the manifold and the steering shaft now. So as you can see, I mean, it looks like hell on video here with the light shining on it, and I'll probably clean this up a little bit, but you know, not even a half a finger long. And what I did was I just took a ball peen hammer, right? I rested it up on the tube, and then I hit the other end with a sledgehammer and just dented it in. Don't go crazy. You know, give it 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 taps and test fit your shaft again. And I literally have plenty of clearance now. 0 complaints. It's a bit rough. I don't know if I'm supposed to leave a touch of slack between the lock rings. That's a little bit better. Probably once you drive it a little bit, it probably seats those bushings in pretty nice. I mean, when you go to stuff like this is, you know, it's race car parts. It's not bad. I think I'm gonna stick a little bit of grease in the bushings. They're probably just Delrin made bushings, made out of Delrin, I should say. Maybe stick a little grease in there, see what happens. You know, we'll see. But again, it is a race car part. I'm just letting you know that don't be surprised. It is a touch notchy. It's not as smooth as a power steering column. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still smooth, but now, one of the problems, I mean, it's not really a problem, it's more an obstacle when you convert to a lightweight column like this. You lose all your mounting points for your ignition, your blinkers, your wipers, and stuff like that. Again, this is a race car part. Now, there's a couple ways you can go about this. There's some companies that sell blinkers for this. Some people just get generic ones. Some people get generic wiper switches. You can grind off a little bit of this powder coat and weld brackets on. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I'm probably going to weld 2 brackets onto here to hold it up. I don't feel like moving all this wiring that I just completed a year ago. So let me show you what I've already done. Now what I've done is I've taken my old ignition, unbolted it from the column, cut half the ring off, because let's see, even if you have a stock car, you don't like to have to push that stupid button. So I cut the ring off, I cut the lock in here, the nub out, and I ground it flat-ish so you can see it. And this will bolt, well, let me rephrase that. That's not going to bolt anywhere now. That's going to sit nice up onto the column like that. And look at that. You can have the thing back. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to weld, I'm going to make a strap from this side. You can see it. So I'll make a strap from there to there by my thumb, and I'll tack it to the column. No, you're like, I don't want to weld on my brand new column, my brand new piece. You don't have to. Like I said, switches are cool. I got my arc panel up here. I got to put my ignition switch on, but it's not what I want to do. I'll probably paint this thing black on top of it so it's not nearly as noticeable. And I'm going to make a blank off for here. So I'll probably grind this down a little bit more, clean this edge up, and just have a carbon fiber blank. Because you can get like a 3" by 6" piece of carbon fiber for cheap. Like I said, I haven't said what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to bolt this onto the column just so it's factory-ish. And then I could put, now remember, mine's still a street car. I still have wipers, I still have turn signals, I still have all of that, so I want to kind of keep the functions the best I can. And this is really simple to do. This ain't any harder than anything else we've ever done. And then you'll be able to just plug everything back in, and you're off to the races. Now your steering wheel will not lock. Let's put it, there's nothing for it to lock against. I really do like this. It comes out further than the factory stuff, but that's a really nice steering wheel. I definitely love it. That was the install of the Team Z steering column. Wasn't terribly hard to do. It takes a little bit of time. It's a little time consuming to do it, but other than that, it's not really hard to do. Basic hand tools, welder won't hurt. But again, I think you should have at least a MIG in the garage, and now I have a TIG. I think that I would buy that over a MIG to start. But that was pretty easy to do. I was going to show you guys the install of the gas pedal, but with my big ass up under there, you really can't see anything. It's 2 bolts, and the factory cable clips right into there. And then, tighten it down. You don't have to go crazy because you don't want it binding up. But I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked the install. I will put a link in the description to Team Z's website for the steering column and for the steering wheel and for the gas pedal here. It's a nice weight-saving column. It's very well built. I got nothing bad to say except for that bushing. It's a little notchy. I don't know what could be done better without running the price through the roof. I don't know if you could put bearings in it. I don't know. It's just a little, it's not smooth. But again, it's a race car part. That thing's, it's built for race cars. So take that with a grain of salt. Get out in the garage, crack a cold beer, grab some tools, get working on your hot rod, guys. I'll see you later.